Hi everybody, this is Peggie Arvidson, soul coach and professional hand analyst. I am here, you're listening to, watching Palmistry with Peggie, and doing my best to quick answer some of the most common questions I get when I teach and when I read hands, particularly when I read hands at group events, where I get to do 10-minute readings, which I'm going to be doing again in a couple of weeks. I'm really looking forward to that. So if you're in the DC area, definitely drop me a line. I'll tell you how to reach me. My email address is handanalystpro@comcast.net. Anyway, one of the common questions I get, particularly when I'm teaching and we talk about things like hand shapes, because the hand shapes relate to elements: earth, air, fire, and water. And people often are in my class because they're interested in the different ways to lead themselves in, to find their best self. So they may have been interested in tarot and astrology, and that brings up the question of these elements. So I can study traditional Chinese medicine and other ways of thinking about our mind, body, and soul. So what they might say is, okay, so is my hand related to my astrological sign? So if, for instance, I'm an Aquarian, which is an air sign. I know it's very confusing for young Aquarians out there because our sign is a water bearer, and yet we're an air sign. Go figure. I had a hard time with that. Once I figured it out, it all made sense. But nonetheless, so if I'm an Aquarian and I have an Aquarius moon, and my astrology friends are much more aware of all the details and all of the different elements, right? Because you're not really just one element, right? That's what they keep telling me. You're not just one element. You can have different parts of your sign and all kinds of different elements. So keep that in mind as well. So, but are my hands then going to be primarily air hands because I'm an air sign? The answer is yes or no. What I've found is people who really super identify with their astrological sign. They're real proud of it. They love, they love all those air qualities, the super thinker, the I'm ahead of my time. I'd rather think about it than get in the game. Those are just, of course, broad generalities about air. There's so many more nuances and layers, right? Like Shrek, we have layers, or like an onion. There's so many pieces. People who are super identified with their sign have a tendency in my readings, okay, these are my readings only. I haven't done an empirical study. This is the Aquarian in me. I have not done an empirical study with my colleagues and all of the hands that they've read. So I'm going to tell you from my perspective, if you're very connected, you love being your sign, and it's a core identifier for you, chances are pretty good that's going to show up in your hands. You're really living that energy, okay? Now, on the other hand, haha, no pun intended, on the other hand, if you recognize that as part of your being, and perhaps you're a little further, or you're somewhere else on your spiritual path, right? Because we're all here on a spiritual path in one way or another. I'm not talking about a religion or a denomination. I'm talking about moving forward to live your best life so you can have a great time and you can make a difference. You can really positively affect people. My goal is that every day I can positively impact one-to-one 5 people. 5 people. I know there's people out there who want to impact millions, and you know what? That's great. I wouldn't turn it down. But ultimately, if there's 5 of you today that watch this video and you get something out of it and you're inspired and you decide you're going to go give somebody else a smile, then there you go. I'm done. There's my job. That's what I've done for today. But so if you're on your spiritual path and you recognize that a good part of your path is to find balance, odds are good your hands are maybe going to represent those elements that are not so predominant in your astrological chart. And again, I'm not an astrologer, so I'm not going to be able to answer your questions about, well, do I have fire here, or do I have this here, or I think somebody told me once that I have water in my 10th house. I don't even know what that might mean, but astrologers feel free to weigh in and tell me what that might mean. I can't answer those astrological questions, but I can tell you that it's fascinating to me when I meet so many people, so many wise people. We know our own best gifts already, and their hands balance out what they know about their astrological sign. Isn't that cool? It's like in yoga, you know, we want to have full balance. We want, when we are touching the ground with our hands and our feet, we want to grasp from all four corners, and that's ultimately, isn't it, where we're going in our life? All four corners we want to be touched and combined. So we want to bring all our elements together so that we can utilize them to inspire ourselves to make wise choices. So if you're feeling a little heavy on the water side, or you're feeling a little heavy on the air side, or fire, or earth, whatever it may be, let's take a look and see if there are places that some of those other elements may be hiding out in your hands. Anyway, that is another question I get. So the answer is yes and no. Your elements from your astrological chart are represented in your hands. This has been Palmistry with Peggie. Thank you for listening. Have an absolutely fabulous day, morning, evening. And if you have questions, email me, handanalystpro@comcast.net, or visit my website, www.intuitiveevolution.com. I look forward to answering your questions and to providing you deeper insight and guidance to living your best life and finding your life purpose. Take care. Bye.